Do you suffer from high stress and anxiety? Do you know what even triggers your anxiety? Keep watching and we'll go through 13 things that have been shown to trigger stress and anxiety. Welcome to the Health How To channel, where we talk about some great life hacks and easy tips to achieve better health. Please subscribe and share what triggers your anxiety so that we can all benefit in our own personal journey to better health. You're probably well aware of the big 5 life events that can bring on severe stress and anxiety. Job loss, having a serious medical health condition or injury, or caring for someone who does, divorce, death, and moving. But what about other smaller daily events that trigger stress and anxiety that you might not even be aware of? Let's back up a bit and talk about some common symptoms of anxiety and stress. Constantly worrying, feeling tired or having low energy, feeling restless, trouble sleeping or having no appetite, irritability, sweating a lot, heart racing, feeling out of breath or like you can't get enough air, wanting to cry, having health issues but your medical team can't figure out a source, and feeling like something bad will happen. And now let's do a deep dive into some daily triggers that might be giving you those feelings of anxiety. Number 1, procrastination. Putting off paying your bills, doing your work. It's a little bit of a cycle. You start the day with a definite to-do list in your mind. You have a few quick tasks that you have to do, like making doctor's appointments, preparing a healthy lunch, or maybe even exercising. And then there are bigger to-dos, like getting started on your work or school presentation, getting your receipts together for the accountant, or cleaning up the garage so that you can finally park your car inside. But then something happens. You think about the task and how much time it will take and how you really don't want to do it. So you put it off by doing something else that's more fun, like scrolling on your phone, watching TV, or whatever. Just anything else, but doing the actual thing you plan on doing. Then 3 hours go by and you start to panic a little, but not enough to get you started. And finally, it's the end of the day and you're cranky because you haven't accomplished anything, and now you're stressed out and can't sleep because you have so much to do and it's completely overwhelming. Number 2, too much caffeine. 85% of Americans look forward to our morning brew to help us jumpstart our day. But if you're downing multiple cups throughout the day because your energy always seems low, then there's a problem. Caffeine found in coffee, tea, soft drinks, and energy drinks acts as a stimulant that increases our heart rate, feelings of jitteriness, and nervousness. Too much caffeine can lead to caffeine-induced anxiety. In fact, people with social anxiety or panic disorder can be especially sensitive to excessive coffee. Now, it doesn't mean you have to cut out your tea, coffee, or cola completely. There are better ways to beat fatigue other than consuming excessive caffeine and increasing your nervous energy. Check out our videos on how to boost your energy. Number 3, low blood sugar from skipping meals or dieting. Do you find that sometimes you're so busy that you don't have time or forget to eat? Then by the end of the day, you're irritable, short-tempered, shaky, faint, or your heart feels like it's racing. When your blood sugar drops, your body pumps out adrenaline, and if you continue to ignore the signs, your stress hormone cortisol levels start to rise too. Adrenaline plus cortisol leads to increased anxiety. A sudden increase in exercise or an intense cardio workout can also trigger increased cortisol, aggravating feelings of anxiety later on. If this describes your situation, consider eating balanced meals at regular times and perhaps having snacks that combine protein with complex carbohydrates. The easy answer might be to have something sweet to raise your blood sugar, but foods that are high in sugar like candy or baked goods can cause a fast spike and then a fast drop in your blood sugar. It's best to avoid the highs and lows to keep your mood and stress levels steady. Number 4, dehydration. Studies have shown a link between not drinking enough water and depression and anxiety. Your brain needs water to function at its best. Dehydration can cause problems with memory, focus, and headaches. If you're not getting adequate fluid, you can also feel tired, less calm, and less happy. To calculate how much water you actually need, take your weight in pounds and divide by 2 for the number of ounces you need to drink. For example, a 200-pound person would need 100 ounces or about 12.5 glasses of water. And if you're very active or it's a hot sunny day, you may need to increase that amount even more. Number 5, lack of vitamin D and sunshine. Perhaps you've heard of seasonal affective disorder. Some people feel more depressed and anxious during the fall and winter, and it has been linked to getting less vitamin D from the sun. People who cover themselves for skin health and cultural reasons also tend to have lower levels of vitamin D. Although you can take supplements, the best way to get natural vitamin D is to go outside or sit by a sunny window and expose your skin to the sun in the morning before 10 a.m. or after 2 p.m. when harmful UV rays aren't as strong. Number 6, cigarettes and alcohol. Yes, it may seem like smoking and drinking can relieve your anxiety and stress. However, once you start smoking regularly, the nicotine makes changes to your brain, and so if you try to stop, the withdrawal actually makes you feel more nervous and anxious. The same goes for alcohol. In small, occasional amounts, alcohol may make you feel more relaxed after a long and stressful day or in social situations. But alcohol is a depressant that also makes changes to your brain with regular heavy drinking. When the alcohol leaves your system, your brain may go into a temporary withdrawal mode that triggers your stress and anxiety, which makes you want to drink more. If you think that maybe you're dependent on cigarettes and alcohol, there's a lot of help out there. Let your medical team and loved ones know so that you can break the cycle. Number 7, social anxiety. Being in social situations can bring on intense fear and anxiety. It could range from being nervous about going to parties where you don't know anyone, public speaking, or it could be everyday social interactions with people at school, work, and in the community. Some people have trouble doing anything in public, including eating or using the restroom. The whole COVID pandemic certainly didn't help. You might not even be aware about your underlying fear of being judged, criticized, evaluated, humiliated, or rejected. Number 8, overthinking. Thinking about things too much, not letting things go, worrying about how others see you, worrying about the future, what if catastrophic thinking, and worrying about your loved ones is exhausting. Replaying the same worries and thoughts only serves to make your anxiety skyrocket. Of course, changing the way you think isn't easy. It's what makes you, well, you. But if overthinking is a trigger for anxiety, then it's best to find ways to cap the amount of time dedicated to things you have no control over or that you can't take actionable steps to resolve yet. You can dedicate an hour each day as your thinking walk. The combo of walking helps to increase blood flow to your brain, boost your energy, and can help to calm you down while you're trying to work things out in your mind. If the weather is bad or there are other barriers to walking, spend 10 minutes writing down all of your worries. Then look over each worry and write down one small step that will help you resolve the problem. If there is no actionable step possible, then release it. The act of writing things down is like a brain dump that clears your mind of having to juggle so many thoughts at once. Number 9, toxic people. Some people just trigger stress. They know just how to push your buttons. Maybe it's an old friend, coworker, boss, or a family member. You may have tried your best to communicate your perspective, your boundaries, and your needs, but there's something living inside them that makes them need to be better than you, always right. You can try to avoid them, limit your time alone with them, resist oversharing personal information, and find ways to deflect their cruel comments, backhanded compliments, or passive aggressiveness. It definitely won't be easy, especially when they're related to you or you live with them. But if somebody constantly triggers your anxiety, you need a break to preserve your mental health. Number 10, diet high in overly processed food. I know what you're thinking, but pizza and ice cream are so comforting. They help to calm me down and lower my anxiety. Maybe eating crunchy chips helps your anger, or chocolate helps when you're feeling sad, but after an hour or so, those feelings come right back with a good dose of regret. Unfortunately, sugary foods made with high fructose corn syrup can make us eventually crash and feel slow and tired, and salty foods can increase our blood pressure. Fried foods can give us heartburn and stomach indigestion. And foods with dyes, preservatives, artificial flavorings, and sweeteners can also trigger anxiety and mood disorders in some people. Nobody's saying you have to cut out all your favorite foods, But if you are using junk food as your only coping mechanism, you may be inadvertently triggering anxiety symptoms in the long run. Watch our video on how to cut down on your sugar for tips. Number 11, lack of preparation. Feeling unprepared, whether it may be for a test or a presentation, can truly trigger a ton of anxiety. Spend some time planning out your day ahead of time to soothe your mind, rather than dashing around at the last minute. What will you need for bad weather? Do you have a convenient first aid kit? How can you study your test material according to your learning style? Have you practiced your speech in front of different people? For some people, that last minute deadline really kickstarts the adrenaline and makes them hyper-focus. But if you do this too often, your nervous system can really start to crash. There's something comforting about knowing that you've packed well in advance of your trip and that you have all your important documents ready to go. A little organization and planning can go a long way in easing your anxiety. Number 12, too little sleep. We've all been told how important sleep is, but good quality sleep really does matter. People with anxiety are especially sensitive to lack of good quality sleep. If you're not getting enough of that deep stage of sleep, you may be setting yourself up for increased anxiety the next day. It's an awful cycle of not being able to sleep because of overthinking or even being anxious about nightmares and then feeling increased irritability, fatigue, and restlessness the next day. Check out our videos on how to sleep for some tips on sleep hygiene. And finally, number 13, social media. When we're scrolling through social media platforms, doesn't it always seem like everybody else has a life that's more rich and glamorous, less stressful, more exciting, more beautiful than ours? That fear of missing out can really trigger depression, that our lives don't look as impossibly perfect, or anxiety because shouldn't we be doing more? Or how about watching the same news feeds about the same topics over and over again? Reading comments that get more inflammatory by the second. It just triggers this overwhelming anger and fear of what's out there. Definitely not helpful for anybody's mental health. If certain Facebook groups or Instagram influencers make you feel bad about yourself, then it's time to unsubscribe. It doesn't mean that you can't have aspirations or be knowledgeable about world events. It does mean that you're making a conscious decision about if, when, and how it affects you. Please subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any health how-to videos where we talk about easy ways to improve your health. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.